welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Monday. Just gone afternoon. So normally morning, but afternoon. But yeah, look, I hope the day's going well. I hope it's treating you well. Obviously, we did have a somewhat favour, somewhat not a favour done yesterday for us in terms of, Villa obviously causing Arsenal some issues in the title race, but obviously in turn strengthening their hold on fourth position. So yeah, a little bit of that, but I hope the day's treating you well anyway and you're looking after yourself. And if you're back to work, I'm sorry. If you're not off work now, enjoy it. We're talking this video around Genoa and their sort of interest in keeping Jed Spence, but potentially not for the buy option that they have. So a bit of an article, read through that and sort of have a quick chat about it. Do also have an update around Spurs' interest in Kieran Dewsbury-Hall from Leicester after obviously he's having a fantastic season in the Championship. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Some quite interesting stuff coming out of that. So plenty to get into, plenty to talk about. Just want to say though, if you're new, give us a subscribe. And there's always, by the way, life doesn't end if you lose a game of football. Some Spurs fans think it has. It hasn't, I promise. All right. Let's start though with the Jed Spence one. So it came from Team Talk, who said that Tottenham can strike a deal with Genoa over permanent transfer of loanee Jed Spence, though upcoming discussions over transfer might irk Spurs. So when we jump into the sort of article itself, it reads that according to subsequent update from Rudy Giletti, Spence is open to joining Genoa outright. Giletti also claimed that Genoa will enter talks with Tottenham to discuss a deal soon, though suggested they'll attempt to agree a price below the option to buy, which is €10 million, or call it $8.5 million. The reporter stated Genoa are evaluating the possibility to sign Spence permanently. The player currently on loan from Tottenham is open to stay with them. Talks with Tottenham will take place as soon as the club would like to lower the price of their buy clause. Now, I have a bit of a brainstorm about this one. I don't mind if we do take a little bit less money. I think look, they're not going to get him for like 3, 4, 5 million. This will be, we want 8.5. They probably want to drop it to about 6. We're going to agree on about 7.5, right? That's kind of my guess there. I would take the flyer and say, look, you can have him for 7. But we want to sell on an option. So, if you do sell him, we get a bit more money back. And that might be 10%. And if they sell him for 10 million, well, if we sell him for 7.5, well, there you go, we make our money back. So that was kind of my thought process. Like, I think a lot of people have talked about how, they want Spence to say, they think, he would suit our right wing back role more than Emerson would. I totally get that. Defensively, I think Emerson is just that little bit better than Spence. Going forwards, yeah, I think Spence is, obviously much better than Emerson, and I think Emerson's limited. But the issue that sort of, I wouldn't say issue, I think the situation is, supposedly, this is all supposed, we don't know because we haven't spoken to Spence himself, we don't speak to the people, obviously, in and around Spurs, but, supposedly the situation is he has a bit of an attitude problem. And those are hard ones to overcome unless you get a humbling. And maybe this Genoa situation, after being loaned out to the French league as well, this is a humbling experience. Some players take a loan spell and make the most of it. See Joe Rodon, brilliant season for Leeds. Ashley Phillips having a great time at Plymouth in terms of when he is playing, and they're not being foolish and not playing him. He's having a good loan spell. And then there's some players that maybe aren't. You know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to name names. But, this is a situation where they like him, which is a good sign. They want to keep him, another good sign. But they're going to want to get some money off. It's like how Spurs may want to keep Werner. We're not going to want to pay the 15 or 16, it's like 17 million euros, but 15 million pounds. We're probably going to want to try and drop that to 12 million, which I do get. And if Spence wants to stay there, I think it's an easy negotiation. But I think Spurs they won't do what they did with Dele Alli, but I think they do a bit of a deal where they say, you can have him. Well, yeah, we'll knock off a few quid. We do want to sell on option though, so if you do sell him, we want to get some money back. So it's less for Genoa to deal with right now in terms of their FFP, PSR, all that jazz. But in the long run, Spurs may end up getting a few extra million out of it. You're taking a bit of a risk. I say it that Spurs can't afford to take £1 million risk, but you know what I mean. So there's that. We'll see about Jed Spence, but I do think he does move to Genoa. Let's talk Dewsbury-Hall. So it came again from Team Talk through Steve Pearson, who said that Man United stung with £30 million Tottenham bid for outstanding star tip to be accepted. The article goes on to read, Tottenham could snap up a championship standout who Sir Jim Ratcliffe personally put forward as a chance target at Manchester United, according to reports. Look, I think you can kind of sense what Ratcliffe wants to do at Man United. He wants a lot more sort of homegrown English players in the squad. You know, that's why he likes Gareth Southgate. Let him go to Man United. No, that's why he probably wants to keep Marcus Rashford, Harry Maguire, Scott McTominay. You know, so that's probably why he wants to add players like Dewsbury-Hall. It wouldn't surprise me if they want Conor Gallagher. You know, it would, and I do have an update on him a little bit later. I just wanted to get one video out where I wasn't talking about Conor Gallagher for once. So it wouldn't surprise me. The article does go on, by the way. I haven't finished there. Let's give us a second. The article reads, furthermore, a Tottenham bid of just 30 million could be enough to seal a deal despite Leicester valuing the player far higher. Football Insider claim that Fox's value the talisman at 40 mil or 90 minute listed at 45. Spurs are known to be on the hunt for a box-to-box midfielder amid their failed attempt to sign Conor Gallagher in January. Tottenham still retain interest in the Chelsea man whose future is coming to a crossroads. I'm not going to speak about Gallagher now, but just so you have the idea, the article did go on to kind of talk about it. Dewsbury-Hall is a jack of all trades. I think that's how you would sum up him as a player. You know, he can play multiple positions. I've talked about him before. That he can play multiple positions. He's played wing back. He's played central midfield. He's played holding midfield. He's played attacking midfield. Hell, he's played the kitchen lady. He's been, you know, pouring pints at half time. He's done it all for Leicester, right? I'm intrigued because if we're thinking, let's say we were only going Conor Gallagher and Dewsbury-Hall, right? This is an outside of the box hypothetical chat. They're not my top options. Like my top options would be Toon Coop Miners or Onana, Edison probably being third in that list. But let's say it's these two. It's all we had. You know, let's say Toon Coop Miners, you know, gets sold. Atalanta refused to sell Edison, and Onana, you know, it's just, yeah, it's too much money for what you're going to get out of it. So let's say we're left with these two. Who would you want? I'm interested to know what you guys think because they'd be similar in terms of price. You know, if we're talking about 30 to 35 million for Gallagher, it would be something similar for Dewsbury-Hall. Both clubs obviously having their financial fair play situations being quite dire. Not Eric, just normal dire. Dewsbury-Hall creatively offers you a bit more. I would say that maybe is where the line gets drawn. I mean, one is an England international though, one isn't, and maybe that's just a Southgate, you know, favouritism, and he, you know, I mean, James Ward-Prowse isn't in the England squad, which I still try and wrap my head around how he isn't in the England squad. Bonkers to me, but look, I think for me we should be aiming better for both of these players. Now, if it was a situation where they went, we're going to go and get, you know, let's say one of my top three of Coop Miners, Onana, and Edison. They go and get one of those three. Happy days. And they go, well, we're just going to go for Dewsbury-Hall. I'd go, oh, that's an interesting bit of business. Does that mean someone else is leaving? Because we expect Højbjerg to be leaving. But does that mean Lo Celso leaves and Dewsbury-Hall might be a replacement? I don't know. For me, I want to see more of Donnelly and Burval next year, as well as then a holding mid, a destroyer. Because I talked about in a few comments back and forth with you guys in the last video about this team needs a number 6 and a destructive number 6. You know, Man City have Rodri, Rice at Arsenal, Fabinho is at Liverpool, Tchouameni's at Real Madrid. Even Oriol Romeu's done well at Barcelona, and he was a Southampton player. You think of what Kante was at Chelsea. You think of all these players who, if you have a out-and-out number 6, a dedicated number 6, a midfield destroyer, the guy who can cut off lanes on his own, your team's much better. Especially in our team where we are kind of counteracted a lot and we are kind of pressed a lot. Can you imagine a galloping number 6 who can just destroy a midfield on a counter-attack? That's what I think we need most in the midfield. Not an 8 or a 10. I think it's that. But I still think we need an 8 and 10. It's one of those weird ones. But anyway, guys, at the end of the video, I hope you did enjoy it. Drop a like on the video if you did. Hit me in the comment section your thoughts and feelings about Jed Spence negotiations of potentially being cheaper than the 8.5 million. Obviously, your thoughts and feelings about Dewsbury-Hall as well. Obviously, subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the bell notification for more. But anyway, guys, at the end of the video, and I will see you all very, very soon. Take care, guys.